When you do this, it's going to be very, very easy for you to create whatever you want within the simulation, because it's a holographic world in which you live right now. None of what you're experiencing is real. It's all coming from within you. And one of the largest misconceptions of manifestation and creating is that you always have to affirm something, or you always have to visualize something, or script, or create a feeling state. This is not true. You don't have to do this. All right, listen very carefully. You only have to design your mind correctly by developing your attention, your present moment awareness, and experience glitches within the simulation, so that way you create a knowing that you are now living in a simulation. And then you design your mind with exercises, training the brain itself to automatically manifest for you. It's almost like getting one of the new Tesla Cybertrucks, or the Teslas that where you type in your destination and it knows it takes you wherever you want to go, or being on autopilot in an airplane. You can design your mind, or your brain, not your mind, your brain, because the mind is actually the identity of reality, which is God, which you are connected to. But your brain within the simulation and your body, your brain, you can design it to automatically manifest for you. When you start to, and you don't always have to affirm, you don't always have to visualize or script or try to create feeling states or try to change things. That's only temporary that you have to do this stuff. Once you train your brain to do certain things and design the concept of yourself that you're creating, and train your brain to automatically be focused on abundance, success, wisdom, health, wealth, everything, okay? Redesigning your mind that you already have everything that you desire, and train it to always be focused in this direction rather than lack, desperation, fear, anxiety, or focused in the past, okay? A lot of times, most people's mind, with the way that the world is now, even with TV, movies, TV series, is that everything is so sad and kind of depressing, where it's always trying to get you to look back into the past and hold on to these things from the past that are training your brain to do that. All right, training the brain. You are not your brain. Your brain is designed to use for calculation or visualization or holding on to feeling states. That's what you can use it for. That's what it's designed for. It is not you. You are not your thoughts. You are not your brain. It's meant to be used for you to train to think properly, to visualize automatically, to affirm automatically. Because what is an affirmation? It is your inner conversation. If your inner conversation is in lack and desperation, and you're affirming, I am rich, I am abundant, you're trying to change that inner conversation within the brain and your fundamental concept of yourself to go in this direction when it's trying to go this direction. So you're trying to change, you're trying to shift the current to be in abundance and success, okay? But sometimes it takes a little bit of time to do that. But what I'm saying is there comes a time when you train your brain and you have developed your attention, your present moment awareness, you know you're living in a simulation, you shift the current over in that direction of abundance, success, everything's working out for you perfectly, where you don't have to affirm anymore. Because once the ship is turned in that direction, you're not going to have to visualize as you go to sleep every night. You're not going to have to affirm or script or do all these things, because your brain is now going to be automatically picturing and feeling the most favorable light, everything in the most favorable light to you. It's going to be creating things in the future within the fourth dimension, bringing things to you once you design it correctly. And this is the example that I want to give you from this is when you train your brain, it's very similar to, say, training an animal, like a stray dog, or you adopt a dog that's never been trained before, or a wild horse or something. You get the dog, you bring it into your house. You want it to live in your house. You want to train it, right? At first, what is it doing? It's doing everything that it's not supposed to be doing. It's tearing up your furniture. You try to take it for walks. It doesn't want to listen. It's pulling on the leash. It's trying to run everywhere. So you're trying to train this dog. But what happens when you go through the training process, like basic training. You train it to, to go to the bathroom outside. And when you walk it, it doesn't pull. So you're keeping it very close to you. Once this training is all done, it eats when it's supposed to. You have it on a schedule. Once that dog is trained, it's going to be doing everything that you had designed it to do. Okay, it's going to be walking like it's supposed to. It's going to be scratching on the door when it needs to go outside to go to the bathroom. It's going to be eating. It's not going to be tearing up the furniture. It's not going to be, doing all these things that it was doing, before it was trained. Your mind is very, very similar to this. Okay, once you design your brain to manifest for you on autopilot, then that's exactly what it's going to do. Okay. Once you turn the mind and you focus for a short period, maybe even sometimes a long period of time, designing your mind correctly, training it correctly to be in an abundant, prosperous state where it's always imagining the most favorable things to you. This is where the magic happens, is when you have trained your brain, just like the wild animal or the stray dog that's now living in your house is doing everything it's supposed to do. Now your brain is trained to always think in abundance. So now it's constantly affirming to itself automatically that you are successful, that I am successful, I am abundant, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am in love with my life. And then what happens from a positive affirmation? What happens from a positive affirmation? It's your imagination now starts to picture within your imagination, because imagination creates reality. So now your mind is automatically has this inner dialogue of positivity and abundance. So now your imagination automatically from your brain is now picturing the most favorable outcomes. Now you're living in a new house, bigger bank balances, people congratulating you automatically. You're not having to visualize any of this stuff or change anything anymore. But from those imaginal acts of you now being congratulated that everything's working out for you perfectly, now what's happening after that? The feeling states are then created from the senses within the imagination, from the brain automatically. So now you're having feelings of it. Now you're feeling positive automatically. Automatically you're feeling tremendous. You're feeling great all the time because now you've designed your brain to now make you feel great all the time. And then what happens after that? The subconscious mind then feels that, right? It feels your feeling states. Feeling is the secret. That's what creates within the simulation. That's what shifts you in the multiverse. That's how you quantum jump. That's how all of this is working. All right, so now the subconscious mind feels this persistent, abundant feeling states from you. Then it starts shifting you and changing your reality, shifting you to different realities that correspond or are congruent with this change that you've made within the mind. And the most magical part about this now is that it's doing it automatically. It's trained, just like the dog is trained, just like the stray dog that you brought in. You decided to train your brain, develop your attention, develop your present moment awareness, experience glitches within the simulation. Now you know you're living in a simulation. So that now your brain is present and it's holding its attention and it knows it's living in a simulation. And now you started to visualize, you started to affirm on your own. You started to create these new feelings. You started doing gratitude crash courses, and you started to design your brain to be positive and to always observe the events that are happening in the most favorable light, that they're all working out for you. Everything's designed just for you to work out the most favorable ending for you, or your wish fulfilled, your desired outcome. No matter what's happening, you've forced yourself to do this, just like forcing to train the dog. The dog doesn't like it. Your brain's not going to like this at first, but the dog doesn't like it. It says, "Why are you training me? I want to run wild. I want to do whatever I want to do." So that's what the brain was trying to do too. But now you've trained the brain to observe and participate in the world as if everything's working out for you. And over time, this develops the automatic action, okay, the automatic element to the brain. Now you flip the switch. Now you type in your destination, you say, I want to have this. So now the brain is locked on it, okay? Your attention's developed, your present moment awareness is developed. You lock in, you maybe picture it one time, you're like, okay, so I have this goal. I want to create a new business, or I want to live in this house, or I want to drive that car. I want to be successful. I want to 10x my income. All right, so then you reposition, you get locked in. Now your brain is trained. You get locked into that feeling. So then the brain automatically starts affirming, starts picturing the outcomes, starts creating these feelings. Then the subconscious mind creates it. Then you're your destination is inevitable. Once your brain, and most people have this misconception about this, that you always have to affirm, you always have to script, you always have to visualize forever to get whatever you want. That's not the case. Only until your brain is trained are you going to have to do this. After that, it's going to be automatic. It's like hitting the autopilot switch. Your mind is going to know exactly. It's going to automatically be picturing the most positive outcomes for you. It's always going to be in an abundant flow. It's going to be turning that concept. The concept of self is shifted once the brain is trained, because now you've developed this power of attention. You are now a powerful vessel to create whatever you want to come into your life. And even Neville Goddard discovered this whole thing where you actually only have to visualize one time. Remember, towards the end of his career, he said this, and he was right, because towards the end of his career, what did he have? What was completely developed for him? I know he had a very powerful attention and present moment awareness like throughout this entire thing, right? But towards the end, what did he find? That he only had to visualize one time. Why is that? Because his brain was trained. Once you visualize it one time, the brain's locked in like a pit bull, like it's locked on, okay? When you train the brain to do this over a short period of time or a long period of time, depending on where your mind is or your brain is right now, how programmed it is for negativity, that's where your ship is going to be sailing. And most people, their brain is designed for depression, for lack, for fear, for anxiety, because of the movies, because of social media, because of instant gratification. It needs this dopamine from the outside because it's always feeling sad and depressed, so it needs something to uplift it. But once you find that power within you and you design your mind correctly, you can make the shift. You make the shift to positivity, abundance, richness, wealth, health, success, love, the highest frequencies within your world. And that's what this training does, okay? So remember this as you're going forward, that this is not something that's going to take, that you're always going to have to visualize 100 times, 100 different nights, or affirm constantly all day long. This is a brain training. This is a training ground, okay, for your brain to shift to thinking this new way and designing and imagining and affirming for you. Your brain will work for you once you train it properly, okay? Once you train it properly, you're going to be ultra successful. And as long as you don't slip back into the old concept of yourself and then untrain it, it's going to remain trained now, and your life is going to be very, very positive. It's just some people, including myself, when I first started this, my mind was trained for negativity, trained for lack, trained for fear, trained for anxiety. It took me many years to train my brain now to work for me and be trained to automatically manifest for me. But if I can do it, anyone can do it, okay? My mind was probably worse than 99% of all of you watching this video when I began. But look what I've done since I've been out of prison, okay? Since I made the change. Once I retrained my mind, changed my concept of myself completely, now my mind or my brain can now lock in on anything, and it just automatically creates more and more and more and more to come into my life. And that's just the concept of myself that I have now. And even with the action that I'm taking, once the brain is designed for positivity and abundance and gratitude and appreciation, automatic action then ensues. You're going to be taking action automatically because that's what the brain is also a part of. I take automatic action because I love my world, because I have energy, I am grateful, and gratitude equals action. And because if you're in a state of lack and negativity, you're not going to be taking action in those states. So the brain is trained that way. That's why you're not able to take the actions that you need to take intuitively, from feeling states. A lot of people ask that question too. Action. What is outer action? Outer action comes automatically from your inner state. When you're in a state of gratitude and appreciation and you love your world, your brain is trained for this, you're going to be taking automatic action. You're going to be waking up. You're going to love your life. You're going to love everything you're doing. And that's why you're going to take action, because you love it. You love everything. You enjoy everything. And when you're in this state, and why I wanted to make this video is because I wanted to explain to you that anyone can do this. And if you're experiencing this overwhelming lack and negativity in your life and you're having to do this and nothing is changing, it's just because your brain isn't completely trained yet. Anyone's brain can be trained. And remember, your brain is not you. It's not a part of you. You are from the mind. You are the processor, but you're also in the display of the simulation. You are a particle of God. God lives within you, and that is your mind behind your brain. You are in there. But the brain is designed for you to control and train within the simulation, to create the simulation, okay, and to navigate the simulation automatically for you. This training can absolutely change your life, and anyone can do it. Okay, if I can do it, anyone can do it. All right, guys, I'm going to link a card on the screen to a sleep meditation that can tremendously help you as well with feeling states as you're falling asleep at night. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.